Okay.
Wow,
Okay.
just made it. Kind of.
Okay, I'd like to call the Village of Ashwaubenon Plan Commission meeting to order. Roll call, please, Terry.
Mayor Kodowski.
Here.
Kim Bukowski.
Here.
Allison Williams. Here. Corey Campbell.
Here.
Gary Paul.
Here.
Mike Skippington.
Here.
And Jim Allen's excused.
Okay, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag. And please remember all the men and women we have throughout the world. Okay, I need an action on the agenda. I have no changes.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5, comments from the public. They must be limited to items not on the agenda. Limited to items not on the agenda. Hearing none, we'll move forward. Okay, we have a public hearing for TID number 5, project plan and territory amendment number 1. Public hearing. Allison.
Do you want a brief description before that, or it's really, there's a couple people in the
Sure.
audience of the district. I
Brief?
don't know if they want to speak,
Brief?
but I will try.
Brief?
Okay, we were going to amend TIF 5. What you have for you is a boundary amendment and then a small project plan amendment, really in terms of expenses relating to the baseball field next door and potential related development near that area. And then also in the amendment is the Capital Credit Union property. If you look at the red colored map, it's number 6. That property, they ended up retaining some property that is in TIF, and those parcels ultimately will be joined, so this would keep all of their property within TIF instead of part in, part out. And then the other portion relates to Imperial and then property Brown County owns in the Expo Center. In the past, we have assisted with some road items and some things like that, so it's possibly in anticipation of that, or if there were other development options as we work through the design and construction on the Expo Center, if there would be an opportunity for private development. At this point, we don't know if that's feasible, but because we are only allowed 3 amendments in the course of a TIF lifetime, we would like to use those wisely, and since we know that we're heading into that, rather than coming back next year and saying we do or don't need to do that, we're going to put that in now.
Okay. Anybody would like to speak for or against this item? This is a public hearing. If anybody would like to speak for or against this item. Okay. I will entertain a motion then to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Public hearing is closed. Number 7, action items. Number 1, review and approve resolution R3-2-18, TIF 5 boundary and project plan amendment. Anybody have any questions or discussion on this?
You don't end up with the complete plan because the base plan is all still there. Everything you see in there is really just supplemental to the old plan. So there's a new cash flow because we have new expenses, but more or less, in large part, it's the same.
Can you explain how they consider, okay, 1 is the arena, right? 2 is the little sled land, but 3 is the rec center, isn't it?
No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you don't consider the rec center blighted to me. It's just to get it into it, or?
There's a map that identifies which properties were identified as blighted and which ones were not. The rec center was included, it is not considered blighted. In case, it was included in the TIF district so that if there are any improvements need to be made to facilitate development of the expo center that may spill over onto rec center property, it would then be an allowable expense within the TIF district.
Same thing with the practice field and all that that's been,
Correct.
okay, all right.
and you'll know practice field, the way it says 1 and 1 on that map, that's actually the same property. It just happens to go over armed forces. So that's why it's labeled blighted. It's not necessarily that we think that it is. It's just that you can't blight half a property and not the other half type of thing.
Move to approve resolution number R3-2-18.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to recommend approval of resolution R3-2-18. Excuse me, that is approval, not recommendation of approval. TIF 5 boundary and project plan amendment. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, 7-2, action on amendment to Ash Park Planned Unit Development for proposed building alterations located at 737 Cormier Road. Todd?
This property is the, I guess, the former water facility, most recently the Schwaben Historical Society. The current owner is proposing to do some remodeling there. I should say the property is in the planned unit development of Ash Park. It was amended probably about 3 years ago to include that parcel. The remodeling that is going to be done there is actually taking off the front offices, which is about 610 square feet. That'll actually move the building, then we're going to reuse the existing building, remodel the inside, do some exterior work as well to match it with the other buildings in that area adjacent to it, which is the Harbor Wealth and the Jason Lewis building behind there. By removing that, the setback will actually be basically right in line with the Harbor Wealth. It'll be about 5-foot separation, so it actually kind of blend a little more. They will make that look like a front of the building, so that'll be actually continuation. It won't be the back of a building. But with that, it will have to go through the site plan review committee on the 20th and the village board on the 27th, I believe, because it's a amendment to the PUD. Along with the remodeling of the building, which would be basically the masonry on the bottom with ephes on the top. They will be also putting, of course, the metal awning on the front entryway there. And then they'll keep the side the same as the ephes that's on there now, which is the back portion of it. That'll remain the same. And along with the exterior, they are going to be putting, I think, 21 or 22 new parking stalls. So they actually will be parking in front of the building as well as some on the side of the building. Again, it will be for Prevea Clinic at that location. And I guess staff, at this point, staff would recommend approval.
Okay, any comments on this? Todd, the one thing I want to say, the ephes wraps all the way around so that everything that is visible will be the same, correct?
Yes, on the front, which will be facing Cormier, will be this elevation here, which does have the block, the brick, and an ephes at the top. It will wrap around the sides, a little bit more on the west side, which would be towards Holmgren. Then at that point, it'll pick up where the ephes that's on there right now. So basically,
Okay.
the brick that's on there will be taken off, and the new facade will be put on.
Okay.
Todd, you were talking so fast I couldn't catch up.
Sorry about that.
Not really. Knowing the property, that's to the west of the wing that they already developed? Is that where you're going with this?
Well, this is the former historical society. So the picture that you're looking at right there on the screen, on the left-hand side would be to the east, which would be the Harbor Wealth. That's been there for a number of years now. Then the portion they put on would be on the back side of it, which is I think Little Birds is in there, and Brett Smith is in there as well. So this would be then between this and the property in the corner. I
Okay.
can't think of the business that are in there right now. Chiropractic office, I believe, is in there.
Chiropractor, sewing,
Yep.
locate
And
staffing
that would,
is
yeah,
in
they'd be on
there.
the right side of here, which would be the west side.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm with you now.
If I talk very slowly, then you can keep up.
Who's speaking now?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the amendment to the Ash Park Planned Unit Development at 737 Cormier Road. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, 7-3, action on ordinance number 03-02-18, changing street name for William Charles Court to Element Way. It says Tony, but I know that Tony isn't here. Okay,
Right again. but we don't have anything to change it to. So the CSM is already at the county to be recorded, and it has changed the new north-south connection to Element Way. So you could potentially change the William Charles Court portion, but the other portion is already dedicated and labeled that way. The entire project is called The Element, hence the name Element Way, and they would have 5 phases of their project on that road, so hence its name. I don't know what else to add. We're not able to ask them to change the name of their project. They're not going to do it. That's their thing. If you want to call it something else, I guess you certainly can.
Well, we discussed this, Allison, as far as like other developments that we've had in the different sections of the village, and the developers named their streets. I mean, I remember, you know, down out in the south portion, we have, you know, Pastel Dove and White Dove and all those different names, and the developers picked those names, and that's what they want dedicated to their project. So
There's already a road named after Ken that I live on, so had that not been already taken, it would perhaps be a possibility, but it's already used.
Whoa, wow.
Well, I gotta agree with Mary on the developer naming the streets. I do quite a bit of work with developers, and they do the naming of it. This was brought up at the board meeting when our past board meeting, and it was tabled, and I guess we didn't think too much of the name, but seeing
It's
it's
good.
all
It's good.
it's saying it's already
It's good,
registered.
yeah.
Saying it's done, there's not much we can do
No,
about it.
it's all right. That's fine.
So, all right, we'll leave it alone. All right, I'll move to approve, if nobody made a motion.
I'll second it.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 03-02-18, changing the street name for William Charles Court to Element Way. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's done.
It's been beat up enough.
Number 8, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.